Off to Sin City we go to kick off a crucial 4-game road trip for the Orange and Blue. We get you set for the Oilers and the Golden Knights right here on the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. Good evening, everybody. Happy spring forward. You lose an hour of sleep, but we get sunlight at 6:30 p.m. as we get you set for a crucial, like I said, Pacific Division showdown between the 30-25-8 Edmonton Oilers and the 29-25-14 Vegas Golden Knights. It is game number 64 on the season for the Orange and Blue. You got Benny Thomson, you got Tommy Gazzola, and you got Joaquin Gage on the pregame show and postgame show today. Hope you've enjoyed your weekend, and maybe the Oilers can make it a little bit better for you as they look to get back into the win column after a tough loss the other night against a very strong Carolina Hurricanes club. Of course, the pregame show, as always, brought to you by our good friends and partners over at GCL Diesel, providers of the best diesel engine components around, from turbochargers to injectors, fuel pumps to sensors. They are the critical engine component experts, proud to serve Edmonton and Northern Alberta for over 50 years. Join the conversation. Text us, 780-218-9999. Hop into the nasty chat over on YouTube. Betty Thompson, how are you? I see Joaquin's ready to go in his satellite studio. Everybody's doing good?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Pretty good. Just, I'm excited for this game tonight. This is a great night for, well, I guess an opportunity for the Oilers because the Ducks play St. Louis in 30 minutes. And they're playing the Vegas Golden Knights, which will be a 4-point game. So there could be some movement at the top of the Pacific Division. And I'm excited to see what goes down.
Yes, sir. 7 games on the sched earlier today. Colorado edges out Mini 3-2 in a shootout. Pittsburgh 5-4 in OT over Boston. Dallas with Tyler Myers in the lineup, 4-3 winners in overtime over Chicago. Right now, Tampa leads Buffalo 5-4, 14 minutes left in the third. And then the Red Wings up 2-0 on Jersey, 4 minutes left in the second. And then, like you said, Benny, Anaheim hosts St. Louis. The Golden Knights get the Oil. I thought, well, I mean, it's a 6:30 start in Vegas. 7:30 start our time on a Sunday. It's like, I don't mind it. I'm okay with it.
I'm fine with a Sunday night game.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Should be good. And it could be a nice way to wrap up what was a nice weekend in town. And we'll see if the Oilers can get back into the victory column because they certainly need it at this point of the season. Just a quick update on the standings as we go into action tonight. The Oil at 68 points, sitting third in the Pacific Division, 1 point up on Seattle, 2 points up on San Jose. Both those teams have games in hand on the Oil. Seattle just 1 game in hand on Edmonton. The Sharks have 2 games in hand. The Kraken have dropped 2 straight, and the Sharks have lost twice in overtime in a row. All right, let's bring in our game analyst, the one and only Joaquin Gage. Hello, Gager. How are you, sir?
I'm good, guys. Happy Sunday evening. Hopefully for Edmonton Oilers fans, it turns out a little bit better than the last game.
Yeah. A lot of people were down, Gager, after that loss to Carolina. I understand, but at the same time, it not everybody, but a lot of people, it seemed like, kind of forgot how good Carolina actually is when they shredded the Oilers. And don't get me wrong, this is a flawed team in Edmonton, but it's almost like, guys, did you realize like Carolina is like a top 4, top 3 team in the NHL? Should Oilers fans be that upset about the loss the other night, or is there some solace in the fact that the Canes are so damn good this season?
Not only are the Canes good, but they're a really good regular season team too, right?
Yeah,
I mean Cass has said for years, if I had a 40, I'd pour a little bit out for Cass right now. But he always mentioned how they play a style of hockey that is it's such a high level that's their ceiling though. They can't get past that. It's right. And playing like that for 82 games and then going past that, I think they tend to run out of gas because you saw how they play. They're tenacious. They're on pucks the whole time, and not that you shouldn't play that way but it's just every single game. I think that's tough to do for 82 all the way through.
Yep.
We'll see if they can get through and get past the conference final. It seems to be their bane right now, but no, the way that the Oilers were going into that game, I thought they would have trouble with the Carolina Hurricanes, and I mean, the big boys came up and kind of got some stuff done, but still a little too leaky, especially against a team like that you can only battle back so many times, Tommy. And, you saw a team that they didn't sit back in the third and coax that one home. They went after the Oilers, and they're just too little too late.
We need to talk about Tristan Jarry. I know he's not playing tonight, or he's not expected to play tonight. If he does play tonight, yeah. But I said 2 of those goals that he allowed. I mean, I'll throw away the second Jackson Blake goal because that was in garbage time, and they had already had the game iced on them with the empty netter. But it almost looked like he was surprised on some of his saves. And then when the Oilers took that lead on a great play by Connor McDavid to Zach Hyman, he goes bar down on the backhand. I love backhand bar down goals, and Hyman's capable of doing that. 37 seconds later, Gager, the Canes got the equalizer. And then 46 seconds after that, they took the lead. And then they added another to make it 3-1. And I thought that was it. And that 3-1 goal, the Martinook goal, it didn't even look like Jarry knew what was going on. Oh. And Martinook kind of like nudged it in too after fanning on the one-timer, and it hit Jarry, and then he kind of like ticked it in, so to speak. Benny's getting upset thinking about it right now.
It was such an awkward play, like just such a stupid, like, I don't know how that happens in an NHL game, but like, yeah, it was such a weird play.
Yeah.
So he fans on it. Jarry kind of makes a save, and then he just slaps a rebound in, right?
Like it was just like he kind of got his stick and knocked it in.
It was it seemed very nonchalant, right? It's like, it looked like to me they blew the whistle. Like I go, wow, they blew the whistle for something there? Was there a penalty?
Yeah.
That's what it seemed like. But no, that's another thing that's haunted the Oilers this season is scoring a goal and the other team scoring right after.
Yeah.
There's nothing more demoralizing than the next shift that the other team comes back. Again, I mean, we've talked about readiness. I thought they started the game okay. It was a little bit better, but just it's these old cliches that I'm reminded of sitting in dressing rooms, like the next shift after a goal. The biggest thing is if you want to carry the momentum of scoring, and maybe you score the next one, but you definitely don't want to get hemmed in your own zone and give up one, because all that momentum that you've just got, it's the air out of the building at that point, Tommy. It's terrible. And then you give up the lead, where now you're thinking, oh my gosh, we just had the lead, a minute and a half ago. Now we're trailing, and all of a sudden you get, unfortunately at that point, then you get the Knoblock loading up again, and the grocery stick usual suspects go, oh, I guess my night's pretty much over. Hopefully these guys can get it even again, and I can start getting a shift.
Jarry specifically, Joaquin, what the heck are you seeing? Because I think I said it to you Friday when I was talking to you. I'm like, it almost looks like he's like a split second behind, and some of the saves he's making, he doesn't even know he's made the save until after the puck has been kicked out rebound.
He looks to me as a very not a lot of confidence with Tristan Jarry right now, right? And when you really see when a goalie's not confident, there's a lot of rebounds, and he's just you're almost trying to get this puck away from me. If I can get this thing out of here as quick as possible, then I don't have to worry about it getting behind me. He just does not look confident whatsoever. So, but the only way to do that is have a good game, right? It's something he's done thousands of times before, but he probably needs a little bit of help from his defenders, and hopefully they can help out and maybe help him take a couple goals away from the other team. Sometimes as a goalie, you're trying to do a little bit too much too. You're trying to make every save you can. But we were talking to Dwayne Rollison last week, and the goalies that he's working with, he has to constantly remind them that you guys can't score, right? You got to try to control. It's easy to say, just control what you can control as a goaltender, but it's tough not to get wrapped up in the whole grand scheme of things at times.
Right. No, I get it. Rolly was good. And he had that quote too. And I think, Benny, you cut that and put it on our social media. It's like, just be the best version of
Be the best
yourself.
you. Be the best
you.
Yeah.
And when you think about it, you're like, well, okay, that makes sense. Now, I know confidence-wise, sometimes that's not easy, but if Connor Ingram tonight can be the best him, I like the Oilers' chances. Really quickly, before we dive into game changers with Joaquin, Gage, we like to call them Gage changers when Gager's on, which is great. Brian Swain with some pregame trivia and knowledge for us. Swainer, excellent stuff as always. He says this will be the first game in NHL history that 3 players named Connor with 2 N's or Connor with 1 N played for the same team. The most players with the same name to play in a game for the Oilers is 4. Craig McTavish, Craig Muni, Craig Simpson, and Craig Redmond all played several games together in 1988-89. So that comes from our good buddy Brian Swain with some Connor knowledge and a bunch of Craigs in orange and blue back in 88-89. All right, real quick, we're going to get to some lineups and then game changers for the Oilers tonight. Here's what we're anticipating. Couple of asterisks to note. McDavid with Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl with Podkolzin and Roslovic. I like Podkolzin with Kapanen and Dickinson the other night. I thought that goal that Podkolzin scored, great shot, and a great play by Kapanen on the forecheck to create the turnover to allow Podkolzin to go in and bury one up high on Freddie Anderson. I thought that was wonderful, but it looks like Podkolzin's getting bumped back up to Draisaitl with Roslovic. That's fine. Dickinson between Savoy and Kapanen, and then Henrique is a game-time decision with Doc and Frederick expected to flank him. Ekholm, also a game-time decision. Bouchard, of course, would be paired up with him. Nurse with Emerson. Wallman with Murphy. We'll see how things go when the teams hit the ice for warm-up. As for the Golden Knights, Jack Eichel with Ivan Barbashev and Braden Bowman. Mitch Marner between Brett Howden and Pavel Dorofeev. Tomas Hertl with Brandon Saad and Keegan Colasar. Nick Dowd between Cole Smith and Colton Sissons. Braden McNabb with Shea Theodore. Noah Hannafin with Caden Korczak, I should say. And then Jeremy Lauzon with Rasmus Anderson. Ben Hutton with Riley Smith. And then as well on defense, or Ben Hutton and Riley Smith expected to be out for the Golden Knights. Let's go to your starting goalies for the Oilers. 28-year-old Connor Ingram. He is 8-6-1 with a .283 goals against average, an .890 save percentage, 1 shutout in 17 games of the season. And Ingram is 2-1-1 lifetime versus Vegas, .308 GAA. 906 save percentage, 1 shutout in 4 games versus the Golden Knights. At the other end of the rake, he hasn't played a ton this season. He's been nicked up. It's 29-year-old Aiden Hill, 6-4-3, with a .342 GAA, 860 save percentage in 15 games this season. Hill, lifetime versus the Oil, a 3-4-1 record with a .280 goals against average, 896 save percentage, and 1 shutout in 9 games versus the Oil over the course of his career. Let's go to the Say the Reed Sport Medicine Injury Report. Connor McDavid's got a team of specialists. You've got a bag of frozen peas. Get the same locker room approach trusted by the best in the game at Say the Reed Sport Medicine. Book your assessment today at www.saythereedsportmed.ca or call 780-460-9977. You heard the game time decision situation for the Oilers, Ekholm and Henrique possibly. Lazar on the shelf, IR arm. Matthias Janmark, LTIR shoulder. And then for Vegas, a bunch of injuries. Mark Stone, IR upper body. Jonas Ronberg, IR lower body. William Karlsson, IR lower body. Carter Hart, IR lower body. And Alex Pietrangelo, he's been IR all season long. Hip issue. All right, Betty Thompson, real quick. What's our question of the night? And we'll pass it off to Gager.
Why was my mic muted?
I
don't know. I think I had a cough or something. Question of the night tonight. Connor Ingram versus, who was the starting? Carter Hart?
Aiden Hill. Carter Hart's hurt.
Oh, right. Sorry. Other way. Carter Hart. I mean, if you were to, because Aiden Hill has had a bad, rough year, and there's been this talk about the goaltending. Who do you got winning the goaltending battle tonight? Connor Ingram versus Aiden Hill. The Connor Ingram talk about how he's been, decent. He's been the Oilers' best goalie so far. I wonder how he plays up against Vegas. I'll check up his numbers here in a bit, but who do you got winning the goaltending battle tonight? Let us know.
Joaquin.
I'm going to lean towards Ingram because I think he'll be busier. But this is his first game with the new personnel too, right? Yeah. So they've had a game to get underneath them. Sometimes, not that I thought the new guys played sufficient, right? But sometimes your first game at home, trying to do, again, a little bit too much. Now you can just get on the road and they can play that kind of, a typical road game, so to speak, where you're kind of a little bit more defensive minded that first 10 minutes, usually trying to weather whatever the home team throws at you. But no, I think Ingram's going to have a solid game here. I think he's been pretty solid throughout. He passes the eye test. Obviously, if you're not watching the game and you look at the goals against afterwards, you're like, well, these guys, they need to save somewhere, but they also need to cut down on chances and time. Like, you have to have that almost that 2-second rule in your own zone. You can't allow guys to have time and space to do what they want. Even a 1-second rule would be better, that they have to make a decision on what they're going to do with the puck, or else someone's on them. But yeah, that's I think it'll go Ingram's way tonight.
Yeah, I'll go full homer on this one just for the sake of it, and just go Connor Ingram has a good game and holds the fort in a tough building. Aiden Hill has had some tough nights against the Oilers. He's got the one shutout against them, but an interesting season in goal again for the Vegas Golden Knights. I know they have Akira Schmid. They went and got Carter Hart, and things haven't gone particularly great in that regard. And then they're going back to Aiden Hill tonight. It's been interesting for sure.
If this game is anything near what the Tampa Bay Lightning and Buffalo Sabres games is right now, oh boy.
Still, what is it, 5-4?
7-6.
Oh, that's it?
7-6 Tampa right now with 8 minutes left in third. I don't know if we'll see that tonight, but
oh man. Maybe. Well, who knows? But let's get to Game Changers with Joaquin, a.k.a. Gage Changers, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Damon Bunting, a consistent top-producing realtor in the greater Edmonton area for almost 20 years. He and his team would love to help you find that right home or make the move from your current home. Check him out, damonbunting.com, or visit his Instagram at Damon Bunting Real Estate. Joaquin, number one, spring forward.
Well, just like the time change, get on your toes, Edmonton Oilers. Start quick, play quick, make decisions quick, play with some tempo. I think when they're at their best, the Oilers don't do well if they're playing trying to slow the pace of the game down. When they keep it upbeat, get everyone engaged, they're a formidable team. So just like the seasons, Tommy, they got to start on time. And I know we've been talking about this for I don't know how many years here, but after last night, seeing where they are in the Pacific, now in third place, looking up at both the Vegas Golden Knights and the Ducks, who are actually first in the Pacific now, you can't afford to have slow starts like they have been. They have to be fully engaged for the whole 60.
Speaking of time, Coach Mike chiming in says it's a national game in the U.S. as part of a doubleheader. It could be one of those 7:50 starts. Biggest game of the season so far. A must win. Yes. And yes. I would say to Coach Mike. Boys, what would you guys say?
Yeah, I mean, to get back to where you want to be, this is one of the speed bumps I think that you're going to have to face anyway. They've had success in Vegas over the last year or so. They want to keep that tradition going, that it's a home away from home, so to speak, and that you can have good games down in Vegas. Now it's you've been there, Tommy. I have not. But all I've heard is that's one arena in the NHL where the home team can really feed off the crowd just because of all the stuff going on, right? So you definitely don't want you want to take again, another cliche, get an early one and take the crowd out of it, right? And just not allow them to be that extra player on the ice for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Go ahead, Ben.
The best case scenario tonight is the Ducks losing to the Blues in regulation and the Oilers beating Vegas in regulation. That would put the Oilers, the same games played, 2 points behind Vegas. And if Anaheim loses, they would still be in first, but now the Oilers would be sitting back only 3 points instead of 5. There could be a whole lot of shakeup in terms of if Vegas wins, they would pass Anaheim if they lose, all that stuff. But this is just I saw the percentages on Twitter before we started our show. I think it's if the Oilers win tonight, they have a 72% chance of making playoffs, and if they lose, they have
Cite your source.
55. Let me find it.
I'm just teasing you.
But you know what I mean. It's this game has a whole lot of stakes behind it for a game that is game 64. 64, right? Yeah. So I mean, it's for a game. We're later on in the season, but usually, there's not that big a stake until probably later on in the season. But this is with how the division is and how tight and how bad the division is. This is a really big one. Really, really important game for the Oilers. And if you're an Oilers fan, cheer on the St. Louis Blues tonight and see if they come out better in the standings than what they are right now.
The Oilers' lifetime in the regular season in Vegas, 7-6. Joaquin is right. It is a tremendous place to watch a game. I've covered a couple games there, and the bass in that building is amazing. And the crowd is great. And I love when they send the showgirls to the visiting team's side of the ice and they stand behind the net and they blow kisses to the visiting team players. And I think sometimes they get the Chippendale dancers. They get the guys there too. It's you just hats off to the Golden Knights production team. When you include the playoffs, the Oilers all time in Vegas, 11-8. And at Vegas in the playoffs, they've actually won 4 straight. And in the regular season, Edmonton has won. They won their last visit. They dropped 2 prior to that and had won 4 in a row in Vegas before the 2 losses. So, yeah, like Joaquin said, they've had some success in Vegas and, most importantly, in the postseason. So it hasn't been that rough of a building to the Oil. But, take the crowd out of it, certainly. That is point number 1 of Gage changers spraying forward. Number 2, no clocks in the casino. Clever.
So, when you go into the casinos there, you don't know what time it is. You don't know what day it is. They try to keep you in there, right? So
lots of oxygen.
It's just lots of oxygen. It's just patience, right? There's no, you got 60 minutes here. I think it's really important that the Oilers play a patient, confident, up-tempo game. Trust the system. At times even when it's the game is tied, you have that feeling that they're worried about scoring, right? And we talked about it last week. Just it's okay to be 0-0. Stan Bowman says you don't have to score every single shift, but there has to be a little bit more patience, I think. And that way, maybe it'll help the Edmonton Oilers by just not pushing too much and allowing that glorious scoring chance the other way, right? Play within the system. Hopefully the new guys can establish themselves and provide that extra little bump on the defensive side. But if it takes 60 minutes or 65 minutes to win this hockey game, Tommy, you just have to play patient, calm, composed, and get the job done.
Here's an interesting one. I want to add to it, to point number 2. It's from Kamloops J. Says, guys, Joaquin, do you think that the players actually look at the standings? Because that could be a motivational thing. No?
No, now at this time of year, yeah, depending on where you're at, right?
Yeah.
You can't not just be oblivious to it. I'm sure somewhere in the dressing room it has where everyone is. That would be. I haven't been in a dressing room in any league that doesn't do something like that. So I think the Edmonton Oilers know exactly where they are and what predicament they've put themselves in. Benny, you just put out some numbers that are quite staggering, 74% to make the playoffs if they win, and then it drops down to almost 50% if they lose. That's frightening, right? So they gotta make sure they take care of business here, Tommy. They've put themselves in a place where they need to beat the Vegas Golden Knights tonight to keep their playoffs hopes alive, which is a weird thing to say.
A couple of texts have come in. Andrea's with Jay in Vegas. or sent a picture of Jay in Vegas. There's a huge hockey puck with the Golden Knights logo, and it looks like Jay's providing a double one-finger salute to that logo.
Nice.
So if you guys have traveled down there, have fun tonight. If that's an old photo, Andrea says, "This is how I feel tonight." Okay, let's see how it goes.
My father is down there.
Your papa is there?
He's there. He was at pregame skate.
Excellent.
So he was giving me the rundown. I was like, I can check Twitter, but thank you for the in arena report.
Yes. Then Colin Buchanan says, "How about not passing 9 times before a shot? Notice that last game. Too fancy." Yeah, Colin, that's been plaguing this team for pretty much all season. All right, that was point number 2 of Gage Changers. No clocks in the casino. Point number 3, solidify the position. Joaquin?
Now, yeah, this is kind of wrapping everything all together, Tommy, but where they are in the standings, they have to make hay now. Over these next, I mean, it's probably going to come down to the last few games of the season, but they have to solidify their place in the Pacific Division. You do not want to be in one of those wild card spots. I think if you're the Edmonton Oilers, you want to play either what it looks like it's going to be Vegas or Anaheim in that first round, which I don't know if there's at first I was thinking, well, maybe you'd rather play Anaheim just without the experience, but now, geez, maybe you want to play the Golden Knights when you look at the moves that the Ducks have made and how they actually look with their full lineup together. But you can't control who you play, but you can control where you stand in the Pacific, and they have to get things done. And it all starts with a big 2 points and then moving forward.
Janice in the nasty chat says, keep the net front clear. Yeah, they struggled with that, Janice, for sure. Quaddy says, when you lose 6 of 8 at this point in the season, you sure as hell better be aware of the standings. Definitely. Spruce Grove Corey says, guys, I feel like the key to this game and the games going forward is evening out the ice time for the forwards. When will Knoblock realize that? This has been the most uncomfortable behind the bench I've seen Chris Knoblock ever in his tenure in Edmonton. Joaquin?
He's the normal calm demeanor where, like I said, you got to see if he has a pulse, but now you're seeing the flared nostrils and even a little hot under the collar with red face and some yelling, some profanity, I think, if I can read lips properly. It's weird when a coach, when you show how he usually acts is in a calm way, that to now where he's not Mike Keenan or anything like that, but for him, I think it's a lot, right? He tries to be a calming presence. And I always liked coaches like that. I didn't like the yellers. Once in a while, it's fine, right? But it gets the Charlie Brown teacher after a while. So I think he's feeling the heat, Tommy. There's a lot of pressure on him to get back to the playoffs. I think there's pressure on a lot of the top guys to produce. And now you've got new guys coming in, that are UFAs in the next year too, right? They're playing for, I know you look at it and try to stay in the moment with these guys. And my job is with the Edmonton Oilers now, but you can't tell me that this isn't a huge audition for myself for next year and July 1st. And everyone loves a winner. I mean, when it comes down between you and another guy, if this guy went a few more rounds and had some success in the playoffs, it's a no-brainer who the GM's going to pick, right? So, there's a lot to play for right now.
By the way, just an out-of-town score update. It is now 8-7 Buffalo over Tampa late in the third period. It's like Steve Shields versus John Graham between the pipes. How's that for a reference?
Couldn't tell you that reference. That's
Joaquin.
I played against both those guys, so yeah.
Exactly. Gager gets it. Joaquin, excellent edition of Gage Changers, and we'll catch up with you on the post-game show, my friend.
Sounds good, buddy.
There you go. There's Joaquin Gage bringing us the goods. Gage Changers, as always, brought to you by Damon Bunting Real Estate. Ken Boehlke will be joining us shortly from Sin Bin Vegas. You could text us 780-218-9999. Jump into the chat over on YouTube. Good chunk of people watching on this Sunday evening. Let's get to your game day odds check really quickly as we get set to bring in Ken. Benny's going to work the phone there. Game day odds check brought to you by our good friends and EST's presenting sponsor, Play Alberta. When you play in Alberta, it stays in Alberta. It's safe and secure. The revenue generated from Play Alberta is redirected into Alberta's General Revenue Fund, which is used to support programs and services that Albertans rely on every day. The money line tonight over at Play Alberta, Edmonton minus 105, Vegas at minus 115. The over-under tonight set at 6.5. Of course, what Oilers game isn't set at over 6.5 right now, because that seems to be just an automatic, as there's always more than 7 goals in a game when the Oilers are playing. Not since January 20th has there been less than 7 goals in a game for the Oil. I think that was the last 2-1 game where they lost to Jersey. Anyway, the over-under set at 6.5. The over at minus 161. The under at plus 120. If you're going to sprinkle, remember to use your game sense. And that is your game day odds check, brought to you by the good folks over at Play Alberta, sponsoring all the big teams in our province: the Oilers, the Flames, the Stampeders, and the Elks, and presenting sponsor of us here at EST. All right, hop into the text line, 780-218-9999. Jump into the chat as well. Tom Gazzola and Ben Thomson with you as we welcome in Ken Boehlke from Sin Bin Vegas. He returns to the pregame show. Ken, what's going on in Vegas? Is everybody breathing easy? Are there some concerns about the Golden Knights and where they might wind up this season? The Pacific Division is so soft. Give us a sense of the climate and environment around the Golden Knights right now.
Oh, there's concerns, Tom. There are concerns. I don't think there's quite as big of concerns maybe as you all are seeing up there. It's close, though. I'll tell you, let me give you the best example of why they're concerned.
Okay.
Pretty much every single fan believes either the coach or the goalie are the entire problem. That's when you know something's wrong with a hockey team. When they cannot pick out anything else except for the coach and the goalie, that's when you know fans have lost their way a little bit.
Wow, that sounds oddly familiar for some reason. But all right, Ken. So I know we had the deadline on Friday, and the Golden Knights, I think their big move would have been Rasmus Andersson a little while ago. How has he acclimated himself to Vegas? And then what else did the Golden Knights do as a quick refresher in terms of making moves?
I was just going to say, are you not telling me that Nick Dowd and Cole Smith are not the big moves that the Golden Knights made this year?
Well, are they as good as Jason Dickinson and Connor Murphy and Colton Dach?
I think I would take that trade right now.
Yeah.
Would you not? Would you trade right now? Would you make the trade? Take all the assets apart and just make the trade of the players the Golden Knights got on deadline day or 2 days before, and who Edmonton got. I think I want Edmonton's players.
You can make a case for both sides. I mean, if you include Rasmus Andersson, but you'd have to lump him in there. But
Anderson.
If you just go deadline week and deadline day, then yes, I'm with you on that. But
all right. Well,
anyway,
back to your question. To your question. Anderson it's been hit and miss. There are certainly parts of what Anderson does that are exciting and definitely change a little bit of what the Golden Knights can do. His puck ability to transport the puck. He's real good at getting the puck off the wall in the offensive zone, kind of into the middle, into that slot area, and get some of those chances of that way. But he's not really defending at a very high level, which has been a bit of a problem for the Golden Knights recently. Not as bad as the Oilers, but still not great. And then the biggest part is he's not getting the offensive opportunity. And that's what was confusing about the trade in the first place is they already have Shea Theodore, they already have Noah Hannafin, and they have a 5-forward power play unit. So he doesn't really get the opportunity that makes you think, 24-minute Rasmus Andersson. Well, now he's getting 20, and none of it's offensive-minded, really, unless he takes the puck from the defensive zone into the offensive zone. So he's doing the best he can. It's not like he's had a bad run of it, but the fit and the value that he offers just does not match the name Rasmus Andersson from what we're used to in Calgary.
Wow. We'll keep an eye on him tonight. I know he always gets fired up to face the Oilers, and the Oilers feel the same way about playing against Rasmus Andersson. I think they hate each other, the Oilers collectively and Rasmus Andersson, the Oilers. So it's equal there, and he now adds a little fuel to the fire when it comes to the rivalry between the Golden Knights and the Oil. All right, Ken, lots of injuries again for Vegas. We know Pietrangelo since day one of the season has been out. Now Carter Hart's out. Carlson's been on the shelf for a while. Mark Stone now. Like, how much of an impact have these injuries had on Vegas?
Yeah, it's extremely significant, but it's also a broken record for the Golden Knights. That's every single year they kind of go through the same thing, and they're not usually 72 points in 63 games at this point. They're usually quite a bit better than that, not hovering around 570 points percentage. They've been better, so it's definitely impacted them in a big way. But I think the team has also had some issues along the way, even during the times when Stone and Eichel were both healthy. They were having some problems. Theodore was out a little bit at the beginning. Hanifin was out a little bit at the beginning. The Carlson one, no question, that's been a huge impact the entire year. They just don't have that shutdown center anymore. As much as Eichel can do the job, you still need Eichel driving your offense. Where you remember, I'm sure, the 2023 series against Edmonton, anytime Connor came over the board, Carlson was there to meet him. Yeah. And he did a great job. And it really changed the way and kind of the balance of that series. After the first two games kind of went back and forth, all of a sudden the Golden Knights started to kind of take hold of that series because of that. They don't have that anymore. In fact, Mitch Marner's playing center again tonight, and Hertl's the third-line center, and defensively he's arguably bad, if not just below average. So they're definitely not as strong down the middle. Nick Dowd may help, but I'm still nervous about what an 11-minute per game impact is actually going to have on a team. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Ken Boehlke joining us now from Sin Bin Vegas as we get you set for the Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers. Between the Pipes has been a journey for the Orange and Blue. I know that there's been an interesting storyline in Vegas with Carter Hart joining the fray, and I know Aiden Hill's been nicked up, and it looks like we're going to see him tonight. Akira Schmid has been a guy that's had to play a bunch of games for Vegas. When Hill has been healthy, when he has played, Ken, how has he performed? Is his game at a level it needs to be to maybe go on a run in the postseason for this club?
He's going to have to play a lot better than he has if we're going to see that. But everyone remembers the 2023 run. He came in halfway through that series and went on as good a run as he has had in his career. Then last year, he was pretty darn good. The year in between, he had some injuries and there was some concern. Last year, he started 50 games. He won 32. His stats were basically league average to slightly above. And you started to feel like, wow, they've got a legitimate stud goalie here that they can rely on. Well, this year, he's been banged up, as you said, but even in the games he's played, not only have the numbers not been there and the expected goals are about as bad as you can possibly be this season, it doesn't look good. He doesn't look like the player that he was at different times. We've seen it here and there. There was a game everyone gets all excited about right before the break, but they played LA. And you guys know as well as anybody, sometimes games against LA aren't indicative of what your team actually is, right?
Yes.
So, So that game, he stops all the shots, or I think he might have let up one. He looked real good. And then since, hasn't been all that good. So today's not an easy ask either, because Edmonton's going to get their chances. They're going to get great opportunities, and he's going to have to stop a bunch of them because the Golden Knights are not scoring. They've scored 5 goals in the last 10 games. So they're not scoring. They're going to have to find a way. Luckily, I think they've got the opponent that might help them do it.
Yeah, touche. I was just going to say, the Oilers might be what the doctor ordered for the Golden Knights when it comes to getting offense going again, because it seems like Edmonton's playing a game with 8 to 10 goals automatically every night for the last month and a bit. Really quickly, I know the ad of Carter Hart, people were curious to see where he would wind up, and there was all the discussion of Hart going to Vegas, and then it finally was formalized. He's played 12 games, 5-3-3 is his record, 871 save percentage, 328 GAA. You look at those numbers from far away and you go, boy, that's not particularly awesome. What has Carter Hart's story been like this year?
It was a weird time that he ended up stepping into the lineup. They were somewhat banged up. They weren't playing all that well, and it was really probably the lowest point of their defensive season. They just were not playing well at all. And he kind of did what he did back in his days in Philly, where he'd make a couple awesome saves, but for the most part, you're looking up there and there's 3, 4, 5 against every single night. You walk away saying, I don't necessarily think he was awful, but also it's 3, 4, 5 every single night. And then the expected goal numbers were bad. All the other stats you read off were not particularly good. And then he gets whatever the injury is, and it's the NHL, so they won't tell us what the injury is. But he's been out since then. They helped him off the ice. He gave up a goal while injured, and then has not been around, has not really been talked about. Kind of a little bit of a mention that they're going to keep 3 on the roster, but he's going to have to skate before we see that. And I don't even know how he fits back in with 19 games to go. Like, I think if he plays again, it would probably be a surprise this year, but he signed a 2-year deal with money, $4 million, two a year. So he probably is the backup next year, but we'll see. A couple starts would be surprising to me this year.
Jeez. Ken Boehlke joining us from Sin Bin Vegas as we get you set for tonight's Pacific Division Showdown. A lot of Oiler fans, Ken, are saying this is probably the biggest game of the year for Edmonton, and obviously it's a 4-point game. These two teams meet each other 3 times in the remaining few weeks of the season, so these are crucial, obviously. I know, and you don't pull any punches when you talk about the Golden Knights and teams around the league. How do you describe the Pacific Division this season? I'm curious.
Hot garbage.
Had to hit the dinger for that one, yeah.
Right. I mean, so I looked it up yesterday. I was having some fun with some numbers yesterday. No team since the NHL has gone to 4 divisions has ever won a division with less than 100 points.
Wow.
The division's going to be won with what, 92?
Yep. It could very well be.
Like it would it shock anybody if it's in the 80s?
It's looking more and more realistic day by day, to be honest.
Yeah. So the one thing about it, like being the biggest game of the year, I feel like Golden Knights fans are also kind of pumping it that way a little bit. It's an opportunity to kind of bury the Oilers down below them a little bit more than they currently are. I just think with 3 games, there's 6 points available. There's also potentially loser points. I think the Golden Knights want to come out of this less than 2 points worse than Edmonton. Mm-hmm. If it's 5-3, that's fine. If it's 4-3, that's good. If they're up, that's obviously good. As long as they're not 3 points or more worse in these 3 games, I think they'll be the Golden Knights should probably end up holding off Edmonton. But if it's 3, it gets real interesting. And getting 2 tonight would be a huge step in the direction of making it 3.
Ken, how much orange and blue has been sprinkled up and down the strip today? Have you seen any?
Oh, there's quite a bit. There's quite a bit. It's gonna be one of the bigger ones of the road team we've seen. Ticket prices are indicating that as well. Here's a group walking in front of me right now. I don't know what's going on with her pants, but
Berta, baby. That's all you got to know.
I wish we were on video right now. I'd flip the camera and you guys would have a treat, but we're not.
Somebody had texted in on the YouTube portion of the show earlier, said that their sister paid $300 US to go to the game. So that is pretty pricey, but it's a great show and one of the more fun buildings to go to. And people in Alberta, especially in Edmonton, they like to get down to the desert, stay warm. Although it is pretty nice here. We had a crazy windstorm this morning, Ken. It was unbelievable. But we'll see what happens on the ice.
It's beautiful here. Yeah. It is beautiful here.
Dude, I love the desert. There's just something about it that's just so perfect. Anyway, Ken, thanks for the time, buddy. Always good to catch up with you. We're probably going to do it again. I'll probably ask you again because there's a couple more games left after this one between these 2 teams. Enjoy the game. Thanks for the time, buddy, and talk soon.
Sounds good. We'll see him.
There you go. Ken Boehlke, Sin Bin Vegas. Great stuff from him. Always check him out. YouTube. Check out his website, sinbinvegas.com, and provides great coverage of the Vegas Golden Knights. He doesn't tiptoe around things either.
Nope.
That's why Ken's awesome. He'll tell you straight up how he feels about things. Benny Thomson.
Yeah, that's I like the comparison of how Vegas showed some good signs against the LA Kings, but it's pretty clear that the LA Kings, how much of it is a reflection of your own team versus just you're playing the LA Kings.
They're not very good.
They're not very good this year at all.
Yeah.
This is a very, very. I'm very curious to see how this game goes because he was saying the scoring's been tough to come by for Vegas, and the Oilers have been giving up tons of chances for teams to be able to up their scoring. So I'm curious to see if that's the case. I mean, the over's been hidden since January 20th.
Pretty much. Like, I know that was the last, because we were like, how many times have the Oilers played in a 2-1 game? That was the last one.
That was the last one. So, I mean, this has been a ridiculous stretch where the Oilers need to lock up their defense. And they have an easier opponent in that way with how their offense hasn't been going. So I'll be looking for that. To me, this is just such an important game.
Yeah.
Like they just I know it's a basic, assumption, but it's just they need to take care of this business because you got Colorado coming up, you got Dallas coming up, and if you're losing games to Vegas and you expect to go into Colorado and win that one, like, I don't know. It's a really important, road trip they got here, and I just you got to hope that they capitalize on it. This is a huge stretch here where you can kind of you're gonna get to see the team that will either show you that they're a good actual cup contender or a team that's struggling this year and probably won't be. And
starting to lean towards the struggle this year and won't be, unfortunately.
I'm with you.
Both teams, Oilers and Golden Knights, what are they, 4-4-2 in their last 10 each, that have struggled. And yes, indeed, that was the last time the under actually hit. It's been, the last 4 games has been 9 goals.
Yep.
We had 11 goals the game prior to the last 4. The over has hit every game since January 20th.
And I mean, Vegas, unless I've missed it, I'm pretty sure the stat is still true that they haven't beat a playoff team since November 20th.
Yeah, I believe so. And 4-6, both teams are, by the way, not 4-4-2.
Okay.
My bad.
That to me is
Yikes.
So Oilers are a playoff team right now, so the Oilers should win tonight. They should. But a lot of people like to label the Oilers as a team that is, slump busters and all that. We'll see if they are tonight. But yeah, if you're the Oilers, man, you gotta take care of business. You gotta win this one. This is a really big one.
Big Uke, very positive today, and I appreciate that. Big Uke says, I expect a big game from the boys tonight. Woo! Dun, da, da, da. Throw that in there as well.
False on that stat? Okay, gotcha, Jim. Yeah, let me look at that.
What are you looking at?
The stat about if they've beat a playoff team since November 20th.
Double check that.
Yeah.
I'll go to some texts here. We'll go inside the Oilers locker room really quickly, and we'll update some lineup stuff for you because there's a couple guys who are game time decisions. Go to Chris in Alabama first. Says, and if when the Oilers score, press them and quit letting them score soon after you take a lead. Yes, Chris Joaquin hit on that as well. Last game against Carolina was 36 seconds after Hyman had scored, and then the Canes tied it. It was Gostisbehere's goal, and then 47 seconds. It was 37 seconds and 46 seconds after the first Canes goal. They added the other and took the lead.
Yeah.
That one was the Ehlers. I don't even want to call it seeing eye shot. I know they hit Nurse or something on the way in, but Jarry was looking to his right.
Yeah.
But the puck went posting in on his left, and I don't think it changed that much direction on the way in.
No.
And then the third goal, we dumped on them because it was a terrible goal.
Yeah. So the Vegas Golden Knights beat the Red Wings on Wednesday.
James
so that's
that.
So that's what that broke the streak there.
Mm-hmm.
So 4 days ago, but still, I mean, they lost to the Wild on the 6th. So yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if they could have been a one-off, or maybe they're turning things around. Sounds like from what Ken was saying, doesn't seem like they're turning it around a whole lot.
All right, let's get to Chris Knoblock from earlier today as the Oilers and Golden Knights meet for the second of 4 meetings.
Items, just to follow up from last game. Adam Henrique is okay, good to go?
He'll be a game time decision.
And Matthias Ekholm wasn't on the ice?
He'll be a game time decision.
Game time as well. And then starting goalie tonight.
Connor Ingram.
What is the biggest threat that the Vegas Golden Knights pose, and what you guys are going to be most aware of tonight?
I think a lot of it with their team. They're a big team. They've got a lot of good players that can score goals. Usually they're typically one of the more high-scoring teams, but defensively, especially with their defense, they're big, they're strong, and they make it hard to get around the nets. And obviously, there's where most of the goals are scored, but you really have to pay a price to get there because they're big and they're physical, they're strong, so you have to be committed to get there.
They don't have Pietrangelo and they don't have Haig anymore, and they're dead last in 5-on-5 save percentage, and you guys are 31st. Both teams struggling to stop the puck 5-on-5. Do you think that's played a bit of a factor in why a lot of people thought Edmonton and Vegas were going to run away with the division, but maybe some of the challenges both teams have had? Is that too simple of an explanation?
Yeah, I can't look at exactly why their save percentage is as low as it is, but in this game, goaltending is very important, and usually success, if you're having a successful year, your goaltending is helping you out there. And the stats you throw out, I anticipate maybe a high-scoring game, but obviously, I'm sure their emphasis is playing better defensive hockey, the same as ours been for the last for a while. But I think there was a lot of high expectations for these two teams.
You addressed the other day, I thought it was interesting, when you play Leon and Connor together, their numbers are usually better than they are this year, and you're trying to sort of figure out why and how and that sort of thing. How does the addition of Dickinson play onto that? Does that shade your decision either way when it comes to putting Leon and Connor together?
You'd think with having Dickinson here, another centerman, it would allow you to play those guys more together. I guess we're just waiting for those two to pop or just score at will, and right now I think they've been very unfortunate. Their goals for and against isn't that favorable, not what you would expect it to be. I know they're what's expected for them to score. The stats is overwhelmingly they're about 70%, which is an unbelievable number, but they just haven't been able to put the puck in the net, and you'd think that that luck would finally be in their favor, but it's something we'll have to see.
Do you how would I say, do you think that the reason it's not as productive this year, is it pucks not going into the opposition's net, or is it pucks ending up in your net that's changing that number the most?
The expected goals, that goes on chances. It takes out any factor of the goalie's making saves or not. And, I think maybe a little unfortunate. Maybe the stats are maybe a little miscued. They can't be accurate completely. But, they've been giving up maybe more chances. But I think a lot of it is just not being able to finish the opportunities that they usually do.
Okay, so last question, sorry to belabor this. You're in Vegas, you like your chances, the odds say it's really good, you're staying on that. Like, you're going to stay with expected goals, you're going to stay with it's got to come, right?
Well, I think more on how the game is going and how are the other lines playing. And I don't think it's necessarily that they have to play together at certain situations. If we can take advantage of another team's their matchups, then possibly they do play together. But otherwise, it might be something that we keep them split apart.
All right, there's head coach Chris Knoblock ahead of tonight's matchup between the Golden Knights and the Edmonton Oilers. You can jump into the conversation. We've got a few minutes left. We'll go right to 7:30 tonight. 780-218-9999. Jump into the Nasty Chat. Nasty Chat's been going really good. Always like to see that on a Sunday evening. A nice one after the windstorm died down. That was crazy earlier today. That was ridiculous, right? So I'm only on the 9th floor of our tower in my building, and there were a lot of like seat cushions from balconies on higher floors just like flying into the river valley, and I was like, oh, how about that? Yeah. One of them was rising. I was watching. I'm like, wow, that thing's like 45 stories in the air. Yeah. Bye-bye. And then driving through downtown today, it was like all this like patio furniture on streets.
It was a
crazy wind. Absolutely. All right. Things have settled down. The craziness could happen on the ice, like that Buffalo-Tampa game 8-7 Buffalo hangs on for the victory. Absolutely crazy. Let's get an update right now on the lineups for the Oil. We said there was 2 game time decisions. Matthias Ekholm took warm-up. Should be good to go from what I understand. And then Adam Henrique did not take warm-up. So Josh Szymanski, who was recalled, should be getting into the lineup for the Oil tonight. And then the Golden Knights, for them, you got Eichel between Barbashev and Bowman, Marner centering Howden and Dorofeev, Hurdle with Saad and Kolasar, Dowd with Cole Smith and Colton Sissons, Riley Smith, a healthy scratch.
Weird.
Right? I mean, he's not having a great year. Him and William Karlsson are original Golden Knights.
Misfits.
And the Misfits, they've been there. It's been 9 years
of
Golden Knights hockey.
And
those
Riley Smith left and then came back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. McNabb with Theodore on defense. Hanifin with Korzak and Lazon paired up with Anderson. Aiden Hill is your starter for the Oilers. McDavid between Nugent Hopkins and Hyman. Draisaitl with Podkolzin and Roslovic. Dickinson with Savoy and Kapanen. And then we'll see where Szymanski slots in. Doc and Frederick were on the wing with Henrique on the 4th line. That's what was anticipated. Szymanski could play center there. And we'll see if Knoblock switches some things around. I haven't seen any other line combinations outside of the fact that it was said that Ekholm is on the ice and Henrique is not for warm-up. On defense, expect Ekholm with Bouchard, Wallman with Murphy, Nurse with Emerson, and your goaltender is Connor Ingram. So there you go. There's your update on lineups. If we see confirmation or anything, we'll pass it along your way. A couple texts to get to here. Coach Mike says 8-7 Buffalo, 7 goals in the third between the two teams. Hope the Oilers aren't taking notes. Well, we know they allow a lot of goals. They also score a ton. Coach Mike, we'll see what happens in this one. The potential is there.
There was a lot of beef in that game, too.
Was there? I love that.
I'm looking there was 5 guys in the box for each team near the end of the first period. So it started off with a ton of hatred and
I love that.
And some spice. Sam Carrick in the box for Buffalo. Shocker. It was a lot. It seemed like that game was highly entertaining and in Buffalo. So good for them because they've been deprived of some entertaining hockey.
Yes.
And now they have something to cheer about, and they had obviously a ridiculously fun game to watch tonight. So
Dan Gracer says, you guys will love this. Mangiapane played decently for the Blackhawks today. Yes.
Wow. Really?
I don't know if anybody's surprised anymore when guys move on and seem to do okay.
He didn't get played at all in the first game. He played 12 minutes today.
And?
Nothing.
Is the bar so low for him that's decent?
He had a shot on net.
Oh, that's good.
3 blocks. 1 hit.
3 blocks?
I'm pretty sure he played 852 in his first game as a Blackhawk.
Oh, man. Well, I mean, considering earlier in the week he played 1 shift for the Condors.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see what happens there. I'm not too worried about it right now. Anyway, interesting. I just wanted to read that and kind of stir the pot. Let's go to Twitter. Mary, who texted in, Gager has some high-quality HD TV to be seeing flared nostrils from Coach K, looking for some sparks from the new guys now that they know what time zone they're in. Twitter Mary, good to hear from you. I heard Twitter Mary and Dave had a great time in Mexico with the travel crew.
New lines, what
do we have?
It's what we expected.
Update.
Szymanski's in for Henrique, and Ekholm seems to be good to go. So, yeah, that's the lines that we mentioned earlier. Szymanski will be stepping in for Adam Henrique tonight, and Ekholm is good to go.
McLovin texts in and says, fire Knoblock, please. Go in there and tell him he's fired Tommy and Reed. You know what, McLovin? I mean, the way things have been going, with how things have been run, if he was let go at the end of the year, especially if they don't make the playoffs, which I don't think is going to happen. I think they'll get in. If they don't, though, I could see him, taking the bullet for the season. Honestly, and you could just we're talking about it with Gager on Gage Changers earlier. His demeanor is different recently.
I think there's a chance they make playoffs and he still gets fired.
Yes.
I honestly think if they don't make the conference final next year, I would say the chances of Knoblock getting fired is more likely than not. If they don't make it to the conference final, that would suck for Cates because they just signed an extension. They're paying him to not be there. But
whatever. He said that okay?
I personally, there's been a lot of talk on Twitter about if this road trip doesn't go as well as they plan, that they think they'll Knoblock be fired. I would be shocked if Chris Knoblock is fired during the regular season. Would be shocked. I just
by the
end of this
year,
regular season, yes. I to me that'd be crazy if they were bringing in a new head coach right before the playoffs to try to fix their season.
What a weird. There's been some bizarre twists and turns this season. We still have 19 games to go. A big one tonight. You got the Golden Knights. So this is a winnable game. Take advantage. Play better, please. Get some saves from your goaltender. Do not allow a goal right after you score one. Very important stuff. We'll see how things go. Big thank you to Ken Boehlke from Sin Bin Vegas, giving us the scoop on the Golden Knights. They too, 4-6 in their last 10, like the Oil, have had their struggles, given up a lot of goals. Which team pulls it out tonight? We shall see. A regulation victory for the Oil would go a very long way. That's going to do it for the GCL Diesel Oil Stream pregame show. For Joaquin, Gage, and Betty Thomson, I'm Tom Gazzola saying enjoy the Oilers and Golden Knights. We'll see you on the postgame show.